Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, July 19th, 2021. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The recommendation made to lower alert level from orange to yellow of the volcano will not take place until all safety measures are in place, so says a lead scientist monitoring the volcano, Dr. Urosela Joseph, while speaking on radio this morning. Dr. Joseph said that a main concern is the safety of persons returning to the red zone.
I know that the authorities are working diligently to see how best the alert level could be addressed in terms of the change. But as I indicated before, there are many considerations before that could be done. Primarily associated with the safety of people and lahars, as well as rebuilding in safe areas where people could reoccupy. So I know that this is hard for a lot, for most people living in shelters. It's not an easy thing, and it is a challenge, but I hope that soon people will get some relief.
2 weeks ago, the UWI Seismic Research Center recommended that based on the low activity at volcano, the alert level could be reduced from orange to yellow, but that lahars pose a threat for habitation in some areas. The government has since launched the mapping of safe areas, which should be completed by this month end.
Simple thing to just go back to, while the activity may be at a stage where we could say it's yellow or whatever the case might be, the alert levels are not just governed by the state of activity of the volcano, but by what is happening on the ground and the ongoing hazards there as a result of the post-eruption hazards. Particularly, I do not expect, and I know that the volcano is still off limits, because the hazards on the crater and on the flats are still high because there's a lot of gas still being emitted, plus the hotspots and the possibility of what we call phreatic. And I think many people have explained, many of the other team leaders would have explained what we refer to as phreatic, being that water can flat. We just spoke about the hotspots and the fact that these are very, very high temperature. I'm talking hundreds of degrees Celsius.
The monitoring of volcano is now at full capacity, with streaming taking place at all 7 stations. This is according to the lead monitoring scientist, who said that they are now in a better position to monitor the volcano prior to any eruption. As it regards to the activity over the weekend, Dr. Joseph said that it has been quiet, with the usual 10 earthquake events per day and gas reading of 280 tons per day. The UK SVG Friendship Trust on Friday, July 16th, presented $330,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars to the government of SVG to assist with the relief efforts following the series of volcanic eruptions, which have had an adverse impact on many lives and livelihoods in the country. The trust said it recognizes that this is a challenging time for the government to provide for the needs of everyone who has been affected not only by the volcanic eruption, but also by the novel coronavirus pandemic, and that it has decided to step forward to support the government to assist those under its care at shelters across the country, and wherever possible to provide further support to those who are leaving shelters to restart their lives. According to the trust, it partnered with the SVG High Commission, the National Council of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Association in the UK, and over 7,000 donors to raise the funds that were distributed on Friday, noting that it is the intention to make further contributions in the near future to help those persons who have been displaced and are returning to their homes. The trust has also partnered with the St. Vincent Cooperative Bank to provide direct support to over 500 individuals through local partnerships, including the Ministry of National Mobilization, Sir Optimus International SVG, Jebel Football Club, and the Voice of the Disabled. The UK SVG Friendship Trust is a not-for-profit organization based in the UK, chaired by His Excellency Sino Lewis, High Commissioner of the SVG High Commission in London, the UK. In other news, the Ministry of Health is working along with the Ministry of Tourism to finalize protocols for cruise ships as they prepare for the return of cruise ships to these shores. This is according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Simone Kisa-Beach, who was on radio yesterday addressing matters regarding the COVID-19 vaccines. The CMO said a committee has been set up and the team is preparing the protocols which deal specifically with creating a bubble of vaccinated service providers in the tourism sector.
Solution for firearm, and worldwide there's the emphasis on vaccinated passengers. And just as we're looking at vaccinated passengers, we also have to look at the persons on land who are going to greet and meet and interact with those persons. And the demand and the interest of the, not demand always, but the interest of cruise ships and the locals is that the persons interacting with them, the vendors, the travelers here on land, would be vaccinated also. So it is that sort of a bubble which extends from the cruise ship on land. It's not that they're going to be interacting with the general public to say it's in conflict with what happens at the airport, but rather that anybody who's interacting with these people coming off the cruise ship would be protected by themselves being vaccinated.
And Dr. Kisa-Beach pointed out that the majority of hotel workers have been vaccinated, noting that it is a question being asked by guests when making a booking at a hotel for those who are not yet vaccinated. The CMO said they are putting themselves at a disadvantage.
And they're going to have to make the choice about being vaccinated. That's what it is looking like, because they're going to be specially designated. This is what we're discussing. Specially designated sites. Also, the access to those sites when the visitors are there, that has to be controlled to allow for that safety both for us and for them. If there's somebody who, for very physical reasons cannot take a vaccine, then that person may have to undergo some testing on the day of the visit.
As it regards taxi drivers at the airport, the CMO said there are still some drivers who are not vaccinated and that a meeting was held with them a few weeks ago about the protocols to operate in the industry. The CMO said a decision will have to be made going forward on how to deal with those who refuse to be vaccinated.
Well, the taxis at the airport are all approved by the Tourism Authority, and I know the Tourism Authority is moving towards having some sort of designation between the vaccinated taxi drivers and the unvaccinated taxi drivers so that people can choose. I listened to Mr. Weeks in terms of the requirement. That's something we are going to have to look into. It might mean that we have to move towards a bus system or something like that. But at this current time, where we do not have sufficient taxi drivers being vaccinated at AIA, it would be a logistical challenge in terms of ensuring that only vaccinated taxi drivers transport these persons.
The cruise ship season started this month and will end in November. On July 1st, neighboring St. Lucia welcomed its first cruise ship since the closure of its ports over a year ago. The arrival of the Celebrity Millennium with 414 passengers was greeted with celebrations and fanfare. 3 new COVID-19 positive cases were reported from 196 samples processed on Friday, July 16th, resulting in a positivity rate of 1.5%. No new cases were reported from 170 samples processed on Saturday, July 17th. 1 new recovery was, however, noted over the reporting period. No new positive cases were reported from 70 samples processed on Sunday, July 18th, and no new recoveries noted over the reporting period. 54 cases are currently active and 12 persons with COVID-19 have died. 2,263 cases of COVID-19 and 2,197 recoveries have been reported in St. Vincent and the Grenadines since March 2020. The health authorities say persons who persist in incorrect or no mask use, remain unvaccinated and participate in mass gatherings will continue to be at risk for being infected and spreading COVID-19, and that to reduce the spread of COVID-19 here in SVG, compliance with the protocols, including the effective use of masks, physical distancing, and the evidence-based recommendations to be vaccinated with available vaccines is strongly recommended. Coral reefs should not be removed from any beach as they are very important to marine lives and offers protection to the coastal areas. That's the view of Executive Director for the SVG Environmental Fund, Louise Mitchell, who continues to be vocal against an application to have coral reefs removed from Indian Bay. Mitchell was a panelist on SVG-TV's Viewpoint program last evening discussing the topic, how do we balance the need for job creation with the need for protecting the environment for generations to come? Is it possible to restore a coral reef that is dead or dying without removing it from its natural habitat?
First of all, coral reefs are the nursery of all marine life. This is where all marine life is born, is in coral reefs. So if you destroy coral reefs, there'll be no fish in the sea. So that nursery has to be protected. And the point is that this reef is very much alive. It was studied by Susgren and many different organizations, and this reef is alive and well. And so it is a nursery for our fish, and so it has to be protected. And not only is it a nursery for fish and many marine species, but it is the nature's protection of the coastline. It's the protection against storm surges, etc. And there are studies that show even a dead reef is excellent protection of the coastline. So even if the reef is dead, it still protects the beach, and it does no harm to the environment leaving a dead reef in place. So there's absolutely no reason whatsoever to remove the reef.
A public notice for the application was published in the Searchlight newspaper on July 2nd, which stated that Rafiq Dunbar, a hotel investor, made an application to the Physical Planning and Development Board to remove the coral reef from the beach area. In a recent telephone interview with SVG-TV News, Mitchell said the idea for the application is to remove the coral reef, which they consider to be dead at Indian Bay, and replace it with imported sand and build a barrier reef that is made out of concrete blocks across the beach area. Mitchell maintains that the coral reef in the area is not dead. Her position has been supported by marine biologist Joshua Gooden, who on the Viewpoint program last evening outlined some of the coral reefs that are present at Indian Bay.
Based on the AIA stated that 350 feet along the coast and 50 to 60 feet out is where they project to remove the so-called dead coral. And then beyond that, 100 to 150 feet out, is where they plan to place an artificial reef. Now, a couple citizen scientists and I, and a couple marine biologists and environmentalists went out maybe like a week ago, and went out with transit tape, and we mapped out the area. Really first 50 to 60 feet where they plan to remove the coral, and then using the transit tape, we sampled going in. Now, as expected, coral numbers increase further out, and as you go in, they decrease. The dominant species of coral found there were encrusting coral. There was some branching coral-like varieties, which is finger coral and elcon coral. Now, outside of that, where they plan to place artificial reef, there was a huge bed of finger coral that extended at least 40 meters in length and 10 meters in width. And it's really surprising to me that EIA was done and was taken from the surface, and to say it was dead. And when I went out there, and when citizen scientists went out there, when marine biologists went out there, environmentalists went out there, they found living coral.
Mitchell said developments in the country are often done in an aggressive way, and this needs to stop as they can cause lasting damage to the environment.
But the new trend in the world now is to place such a high value on nature that nature has now become much more important than it was regarded before. So development now has to put nature at the center of everything that it's doing. And I'm hoping that we will see a type of ecotourism being built here in St. Vincent that puts nature first. And what is interesting about ecotourism as opposed to mass tourism is that the money that comes from ecotourism, over 90% of it tends to stay in the local economy. The way in which ecotourism is developed, it's that it's developed in harmony with the communities within which it is established. So the money actually stays in the country, and that's one of the benefits of ecotourism, is that it's sensitive not only to nature but to the cultural environs in which it operates.
The SVG Environmental Fund has gained over 4,000 signatures thus far for a petition against the removal of the coral reef at Indian Bay. Tributes have been pouring in for the late great Calypso king Trevor Winston Soso Lockhart, who passed away on Sunday in Brooklyn, New York. Soso, who suffered from a stroke in June and had kidney failure, passed away days after his 69th birthday, which was on July 14th. Soso, who was appointed a cultural ambassador in 2014, is known throughout the world as a legendary Calypsonian and soca artist. The first crowned soca monarch in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, he has left an indelible mark on the cultural landscape. Speaking with SVG-TV News on his passing, former Minister of Culture Rennie Batiste and head of the Calypso Association, Earl Cabba Bennett, shared their memories of Soso, who was dubbed the Rolls Royce of Calypso.
Liked about him, and the old timers, they dress to kill for their performance, and they go on stage and they kill it. And he enjoyed being on stage, such a pleasant person, and he believed that his conversation was his songs, and the innuendos and the double entendres he would use sometimes. I don't mind if you want to give me, I won't refuse it. And he had a particular way, you know, that is so-so. There's a phrasing that he uses, and he says, that's so. I think, if my memory serves me right, I had the opportunity to make a presentation to him on stage when I served as Minister of Culture, and it was good to know that all of them, they from the old list, that they were able to be given that designation of cultural ambassador to lift the quality of what the entertainment industry can give to you as a participant, and a vibrant and loving participant, someone that loves the craft, that loves the art form and can sing and perform on stage. Whether he was in St. Vincent or not, I don't think there was a carnival that those songs were not played. They were always played.
The fact that everywhere he went, people knew he was from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and he marketed St. Vincent and the Grenadines in that fashion, and he's always a humble person. I was not afraid to speak about his love for his country. As you would realize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a small dot on the map. And many places where he traveled, persons did not know that such a place existed. And even if they heard the name, he didn't make it on the map. It just ensured that wherever he traveled, he made it known, his love for St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the importance of his country to him. Through his many hits, he gained iconic and legendary status and as an entertainer for excellence. And for that, I know his legacy will certainly live on.
Batiste, in her recollection of Soso, noted that other entertainers can learn from his performances, as he was known to dominate the stage. For Batiste, her favorite Soso song is I Don't Mind, while his winning Calypso Congratulations is a favorite for Bennett, who said he grew up hearing Soso long before he knew him personally. Both shared their thoughts with the grieving family.
Unless you have suffered such a loss, and you mourn that loss, you really don't know. People say, I know your shoes, but you have to wear those shoes to know how they fit. It is a very deep and abiding loss, but what makes it bearable is that people share in that loss, and those persons who have suffered a similar loss, they understand and sympathize with you genuinely, and understand that this is a loss, but what comforts you is this body of work that they have left and that you're assured by those who have been given charge of the cultural industry, of the entertainment industry, that they would ensure that the legacy lives on.
We were richer for having sus amongst us and the poor for his passing. There's another thing that many persons got to realize, that his actual official name is not Winston Susso, but Trevor Lockhart. And that is news to many, many persons. The history behind it, I don't know, but Sus, Trevor Lockhart, Winston Susso, Rose Royce, whichever name we want to call you, we thank you for your outstanding service to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to the entertainment, cultural, musical landscape. You have contributed significantly to its development promotion. Again, we express our sincerest condolences to his family, his friends, his fans, and the entertainment family, wherever you are.
On social media, other entertainers in the region also share their thoughts on the passing of the Vincentian icon, with fellow Trinidadian Calypsonian David Rodder taken to Facebook writing, "Now Winston Susso, wow." In other news, SVG on Sunday recorded its first road fatality for the year thus far along the Nelson Mandela Highway in the vicinity of the Windsor Primary School. The police say motor vehicle PM214, a blue Toyota Merino owned by Jerome Kane and driven by Shavel Kane of Belair, was traveling along the Nelson Mandela Highway from the leeward side into Kingstown when the driver lost control of the vehicle and ran off the road. The deceased sustained serious injuries, which resulted in his death. 2 female passengers reportedly escaped with minor injuries. Family and friends of the deceased are heartbroken by his passing. Speaking with our news team today, the boys on Mother Block in Belair described Kane as a very friendly and jovial young man who lived his years making others happy.
Solar. There was a tragedy scene and very sorry for what happened, and was my boy. He's a boy used to make everybody laugh. Good boy around here and everything. May name that much, but for the time my name was a good boy. But sorry for the scene happened to Travis.
Well, I didn't know him as much as everybody else here, so but in this small space of time, it was a genuinely fun guy for real. And the minute the man go, the whole block get shocked one time. That's all I could say, because that's why I know. Everybody else here know him a lot better than me, so it wouldn't be fair for me to say too much. But from where I know, was a genuinely good guy, fun, understand? I know he bred a little more than him.
Boy, me and Shavi grew up, you could say, and small, my cousin too, everything, my friend. Boy, I don't know what that is one. I know everybody in the village. Boy, everybody in the city say no Shavi, so I know Shavi is a fun person. Shavi don't go and make trouble, so you mostly find Shavi company black, and then you see, boy, everybody happy. You can't know why. He's a man guy just make you feel good. Yeah. It's a tough loss for all of from the old Buster boys and everybody around. You know, we will miss Shavi because he's a man who will come and make you feel real good. You will miss the boy Shavi boy.
Don't know every time you come around, you know. Yeah, time, you know, making everybody be happy, you know. Some kind of antics yeah, time doing is either, you know, is either the boy talk some kind of way, you know. Is either he talk some kind of way or do something just make you laugh. I don't know if anybody like knew him, like how we knew him, but you know, this a really tragic. However, whatever happened with Shavi is like really hot, you know? It's a really hurtful thing. So I just gotta say R.I.P. boy Shavi.
To me and everybody, Shavi just been a crowd motivator and MC, you know? Shavi just been a youth now, we just make sure now everybody good, no matter if you yourself know you. All down to the girls and them, everybody, boy, sit there and make sure now everybody good. Boy, that's been a youth now, We just come around and everybody just feel good. No bad vibes. But sadly things have to go down so too, man. R.I.P. me G.
Me, Shavi was like a little brother to me. When it come into like jokes and having fun, Shavi was just that kind of person. And it's sad to see that, you know, you have to go like this. R.I.P. Shavi, rest in peace.
Our news team also spoke with more of his friends at James E. Block in Daphne. It is where we met his best friend Jason Wood, who broke down in tears as he shared his last exchange with Kane before the accident.
He was a real cool youth. You know, met him back in our younger days. You know, he come up, even though we might get away through the things, still we never fall apart. You start to have a talk, boy, after we is weaving. You know, so it's hard for no boy, the general just chop out to you straight, so because you get life to live and you know get a youth too, so it's really hard for no that. And I hear the talk yesterday, somebody just stopped me and just tell me, boy, Shavi dead. I have to ask them, which one is Shavi? Up to now, it's like so real, like I said, believe it still. You know, yeah, but that's a holy faith still. You know, as condolences to his family, Doc, Chucks, you know, his father, you know, strength and things still, you know.
Yeah, the boy was a juvenile youth, you know, making the whole village laugh. And a troublesome youth, you know, it's very hard for you right now because sudden death, man, dead with all his strength as a young youth, you know.
Can I even speak brother, but I even brother every day. Me and this man up and down every day. From Sunday to Sunday, me and the man live from Sunday night, Saturday night till Sunday yesterday morning, Clay, the man run off of me.
The police say investigations into the motor vehicle accident are ongoing. The police also reported today that a joint operation conducted on Friday, July 16, 2021, have resulted in the recovery of a firearm, 8 rounds of ammunition, a quantity of marijuana, and 2 masks. The police say as part of the quest to rid our communities of guns and ammunition, a party of narcotics and rapid response unit personnel conducted a search at a residence in Villa and discovered a .38 revolver, 8 rounds of .38 ammunition, 3,351 grams of cannabis, and 2 masks. No one was, however, arrested in relation to the discovery. The police say investigations are ongoing.